Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome to part number 0 of my F1 22 My Team Career Mode. It is that time of the year where ahead of the brand new game launching and our start of the new My Team Career Mode series, we go through a series of categories for you guys at home to vote on. Because of course, My Team Career Mode, I am the team boss of a brand new team entering Formula 1, and ever since My Team Career Mode came into the F1 game, I've had this cool idea of involving you guys at the start of the career as my board of directors and getting you guys to vote on how we start the career mode in every aspect I can get you guys involved in. On this year's game, with a brand new era of Formula 1 upon us in the F1 game, we've got quite a few options for you guys to vote on today in today's video. So be sure to check the links down below in the description and the comments below to vote on these, and they will actually affect how I choose things going into episode number 1 next week. But just before we get into that, guys, I want to announce to you that the start of this career mode, part number 1, will begin next Monday on the 27th of June at 4 PM BST UK time. So if you want to be ready, and as soon as it's uploaded, come back to this channel at 4 PM UK time, that is BST, on June the 27th, next Monday. That is when part 1 will be uploaded. So let's start off with then the team name. Now, because this is a brand new era for Formula 1 in real life and on the game, I thought we would give you a vote to change the name. We didn't change our name from F1 2020 to 2021. We kept Aarava Archer Racing, which is a little nod way back to Motorsport Manager many years ago now, as a little kind of Easter egg for so many OG viewers that have been still here on the channel since then. But because we've got a new era of Formula 1, I think I should give you guys an opportunity to vote on a different name as we enter that new era. So we've got 3 options. The first option being Aarava JB Racing. Now, if you know me, you'll know that I'm a massive Jenson Button fan. He's the only driver I've ever really supported in Formula 1. Still to this day, I only watch F1 as a neutral now, really. So a little nod to my favourite ever F1 driver, JB, his initials. Very simple, very minimalistic name there, but that is option number 1. Number 2, Aarava Jefferson Racing. Sounds a little bit quirky, but this is a little tribute and a nod to the infamous F1 race engineer we have had for so many years. Jeff, the engineer, he is no more on F1 22. We've now got Mark Priestley, an actual mechanic that used to work at McLaren. He is now the new race engineer's voice in the game. So this is going to be effectively a little tribute name to Jeff. No matter how much he's annoyed me and you guys at home in the past, he has gone down in F1 games as an absolute legend of the game. So it's a little nod to Jeff, but I thought Jeff itself was a little bit too simple, a bit weird, so I thought Jefferson Racing made it sound a little bit more posher and fancier, as obviously F1 is as well. So Aarava Jefferson Racing is the second option, and then of course the last option is still the same, Aarava Archer Racing, the OG name that we went with for My Team Career Mode at the start of 2020. The next thing to vote on is the power unit supplier. Of course, we've got 4 engines to choose from on this year's game. We've got the Renault E-Tech, as it's now named in the game. Red Bull Powertrains effectively is the Honda engine, but now developed and, taken care of by Red Bull as a company. So it's been relabeled as Red Bull Powertrains, even though Honda technically still helped them out a little bit. We know that from the HRC logos, but it is Red Bull Powertrains in the game. Mercedes AMG or Ferrari. If you check out the links in the description or the comments, I'm also going to include the performances based off the preview build we've had so far, so that will help you inform also maybe your decision in terms of the performance and reliability. So check out the links below to check out those details to inform your vote potentially, but those are obviously the power units we can choose from at the start of the game. Livery options. Now, this one's a pretty big one, of course, because visually speaking, we'll be looking at this car the whole time, either on board or off board in replay cameras spliced in to the racing. So we've got 3 options for you. Option number 1 is the ye old faithful Brawn GP style color scheme. I guess you could also call it a quadrant color scheme. Just worked out really well that way with the neon yellow fluoro, green fluoro base color, white accents with black. I think we've gone with white and black as the base color so far in F1 F1 2020 with the white, and then F1 2021 we went with the base color of black. So this year I'm thinking we go with the base color of the big in-your-face fluoro green yellow potentially, and then have the accents be in white and black. Option number 2, I'm going to describe this as a kind of off-white sort of color, spliced in with a good bit of black just to give that slick kind of feel, and then accents of red and darker red as well. Remember, we've got different paint options on this year's game with gloss, satin, metallic, and also matte paint, so we can play around with these and see how they feel. I would liken this color scheme to almost like the show car that F1 have made, where it's a whole cobble of those F1 themed colors together to make a kind of nice livery. So I would call option 2 almost like the F1 official sort of colors in a way, and I've played around with these colors in the game already, and I can tell you the option I would go with in terms of the livery for this option I think will look pretty slick. So if you guys want me to go for a much different color set to what we've had in the last 2 games, then I would go with option 2, or option 3 is a base of yellow with accents of black and white. I've gone for yellow for 2 reasons here as option 3. Basically, 1, there's not a yellow car on the grid at the moment, of course. You know, my favorite color and the color I've branded the channel with for so many years has been red, but we have enough red cars on the grid, I feel. So maybe yellow is a color we need to bring to the grid potentially. And also, you know, aarava Archer fans, you know, going all the way back to Motorsport Manager, the Archer color used to be yellow. So if you really want to make a tribute to Archer and that kind of little Easter egg for OG viewers of the channel, then I guess that's also an option. But really more so I thought, oh, I don't think we have a lot of yellow on the grid. And also in terms of other colors, I know that Ben likes purple, so that's kind of already chosen. I don't want to go with the same color as him. And even the same thing with other creators having blue or, you know, light blue, etc, etc. Green has already been overdone as well with the British Racing green of Aston Martin. So I feel yellow is a nice happy medium color that's not there on the grid right now as option number 3. So vote for which one you want. It'll be the colors we start the livery with, but obviously as we go on through season 1, that may change, but initially I will be basing it off this vote that you guys vote in. The next vote is a brand new thing for this year's F1 22 game, and is how we are starting the My Team career mode with the starting setting. So in this year's game, we've got 3 options of Championship Contender. So we're going to come into the series already with a couple of upgrades, maybe our factory's a little bit upgraded, and you could try and fight for the championship from the offset. Midfield Challenger, so thinking about, you know, Alpine, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Haas vibes maybe in the middle of the pack, nitty gritty, or it's going to be Newcomer. Now Newcomer, I will point out, is pretty much the same setting we've had for F1 2020 and F1 2021, and I'm going to say, to be honest, in my opinion, obviously, most of us YouTube creators will choose Newcomer, because that's the best way to go, I think, about it, you know, building the team up from nothing. But because this was a new option in the game, I did want to give you guys the option of voting. But to be honest, I can already guess that the majority of you will want me to do Newcomer, but I thought I'd give you the option, because hey, you never know, there might be a curveball you guys throw in there. But I think Newcomer is going to be the more sensible thing, but those are the options you have in the game, and I wanted to give you guys the vote. The sponsors, now this is very similar to the last 2 years of this game. So the 3 options are going for the biggest payout available from any of the sponsors, but they'll probably also come with the riskiest goal of, you know, earning, you know, X amount of points or getting a certain, you know, position in the championship. So you never know if this truly is going to be a much more difficult game with the AI, the handling model. You know, if we're a newcomer to the grid, this will be a risky option, but will be with a big reward at the end of the season. We can go for the safe option, so going for an easy goal we can definitely get, but of course we're going to have less of a payout for that, or a happy middle ground option, so kind of going for the in-between, so a goal that I feel like is achievable if things go away a little bit, but at the same time it's going to give a good payout, but it's not as risky as the big payout one, but it's not as little and as safe as the safe option. Like the safe option would literally be, I don't know, like a goal of finishing, you know, a set number of races or whatever, basically. So the middle ground will be kind of in between those. So those are the 3 options for how you want me to go for the sponsors. And then finally, the career mode settings, the sliders that I liken them to. So we've got 3 options. We're going for the default option, so not touching any of the settings. settings and playing the game as it comes out the box. The second option is going to be an AI boost, so this will mean upping their rate of acclaim, R&D, and cash, so they, as AI teams, can effectively upgrade a little bit quicker than they would on the base game, get those HQ facility upgrades. So the hope is that will help the lower AI teams actually catch back up a little bit and bridge the gap to the top, but also will mean that when I get into that fight in the midfield, maybe from a newcomer position, theoretically, they will still be able to keep up with me. They'll give me a better fight, basically, because they'll be boosted a little bit, and because generally speaking, the player can earn quite a fair amount of R&D once you get the ball rolling in the middle of the career mode season. And the final option is that AI boost again, but then added on with a player nerf, so reducing the amount of R&D and money I'm earning in the career mode. So that kind of makes it, skews it both ways in terms of the AI have the boost, I then also earn a little bit less, so it makes it kind of almost twice as hard as the default, let's say, versus option 1 at the start of the career mode. So that's going to slow down my progress, and you could see maybe it take longer then for me to get to the top, although as we saw in last year's game, even with that we were still able to claw our way through just with some good strategies, but it still makes the challenge harder effectively, especially at the start of the career mode. I must say, at the start you really notice option 3 if we go for that one. And finally, just before I end off, guys, is that Codemasters and EA have very kindly put me into a testing pilot program for a creator code for F1. So what this means is, if you guys have enjoyed my videos in the past and have wanted to support me directly in any kind of way, if you have yet to pre-order F1 22 on PC, this is on PC, if you pre-order it either via the Origin store or the EA desktop app, and at checkout, if you use the promo code aarava, that will directly support me. Think of kind of like other games where they've had creator codes as a way to support creators that you enjoy watching. This is the same sort of thing, but it's the first time they've ever done it on the F1 game, and there's a small test pilot program basically for the next 2 weeks. So if you guys have ever wanted to support me a little bit more further than just watching the videos themselves and saying a thank you, then you guys can use the creator code aarava at checkout for pre-ordering on PC, Origin, or the EA desktop app, and that will directly support me. And so with that, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned in this boardroom, and with you guys, my board of directors. Those are the votes, ladies and gents. So get below, get in the comments and the description on those votes on the straw polls, and get voting, and I will actually use the results in episode 1. As I always do, I show you guys the screenshots of the votes, the results, to prove that I'm using the results to determine how I start the career mode. And this is a way for you guys to really feel connected to the start of the series and get involved basically with it. So if you guys have enjoyed this video and have enjoyed the concept of it, then hit the like button. Let me know what you make of it in the comments below, and maybe discuss with fellow other viewers maybe which way you want to go with things potentially. And if you are new around here, again, get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content and the start of our F1 22 My Team career mode at the start of next week, 4 PM BST UK time. See you then. Till then, goodbye.